All right, here we go. We have Moreno Zulu in the building,
Hi,
Scarborough's finest. How are you doing today, man?
doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing great, man. I mean, you're going on like a successful like promotion run with the posters for your latest project, Vibes, which you can stream on like all like platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, like everywhere too. And just like listening to the Vibes EP and like listening to like the 24/7 project along with your singles, like very dope. Like along the way, like a lot of like unique sounds. Like when I was like listening to those projects, like it kind of reminds me similar to artists like Dom McLennan from like Brockhampton and like Buddy, like who are like very like well known like rappers like in the scene like throughout the way.
Mm.
Uh,
All right, that's amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that.
so like thank you for coming by to like the Lens of Yashu, like, and I know that this is like your first time here, like having like a very like unique and talented artist on here. So
Mm.
I would just like want to start it like from the very beginning. So you grew up in Scarborough, like that's correct?
Yeah, I did grow up in Scarborough. Yeah, Scarborough, Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, East Toronto, Scarborough.
So which ends did you grow up in, and like what was the environment like for you growing up? Would you say that it was kind of like good back then, or would it be like very different?
Yeah, things change over time, over the years. Like, decade after decade, there's always something different, buildings and environments and areas are changing. People are moving out, new businesses are being built. You know what I mean? So it's interesting just seeing the evolution, going back to my old neighborhood, and it's like, damn, so much happened in this area, and you go back and you have another memory, and yeah, realizing it's a part of life.
It's very interesting too, and like I know Scarborough, and even like Toronto as well too. Like Scarborough's like well known musically, like right now from your Bugs to like your Free and Frenches to your Honcho Hoodlums to like even like unique artists like your Prems, your like Pangs and Tutus and like other like conscious like artists too, like throughout the way too. So like in Scarborough, just like even Toronto in general, were there like any other like influences or talent that inspired you to take part like in the music scene now?
From Scarborough, oh, for sure, even seeing like the Airplane Boys growing up, that was definitely inspirational. And also just really going downtown and seeing the artist culture of all the people. Some people might not be famous, but they definitely influenced me, by just their passion for art. And yeah, Airplane Boys, of course, Drake, of course, The Weeknd, 88 Glam. There's definitely a lot of talent that I seen growing up that definitely inspired me.
No doubt, man. And what, like, I don't know if you had like a musical history or like background, like growing up, like if you had like any like family members that took part in music by any chance, but did you ever had that experience, and like what made you decide on like wanting to become like a rapper and a musician?
Oh yeah, no one in my family really played music, no. But I remember my father, when I was like 18 or 19, he made sure that I had like piano and guitar lessons. He hooked that up. He found someone, and he's like, man, if you're gonna do this music thing, you gotta do it right. So he made sure I had my piano and guitar lessons. And what inspired me was honestly when I when I seen Joey Badass when he came out on YouTube. That was definitely a pivotal moment for me, because that inspired like a whole wave of artists. That inspired other people around me, even people in Scarborough who also were feeling his movement. So I give that to Joey Badass back in 2012, 2011. That was a huge moment.
And we had like this interesting conversation before we started the interview that you actually took part in helping out in UofT for their GZA event back in like 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you like really want to like talk about that like by any chance, and like how the story went by.
Oh yeah. So when I was 14 and I started making music, just going along the path, I found like a mentor. I was a part of this music conscious group. It was called Freedom. And one of the coordinators and facilitators, she was close friends with GZA, So we ended up putting together a UofT lecture back in 2013, 2012. And it was interesting seeing him in person, seeing all the people who lined up. That was just proof of everything to me, to show that what I wanted and what I wanted to achieve in music was definitely possible.
I actually went to that event back then in 2013 too, and then I actually had this like pivotal like question that I asked GZA. Like I don't know if you like heard the question by any chance too, but I asked him about Kendrick Lamar's like 2014 Control verse, when if he felt like Kendrick was like the king of New York, and like what his thoughts were like. I don't know if you like catch that like back.
Oh, you were there too?
Yeah.
No, honestly, yeah, I definitely do remember there was. Yeah, people did ask questions. I remember people getting up to ask questions, but yeah, no, I gotta find the footage and everything. We could possibly find that footage of you asking that question. And I remember the reaction. Actually, I think everyone was kind of like, was like, "Whoa, yeah." It was an awe moment for sure. That was a big question to ask. Yeah.
And I know with GZA, like I know that he said something that, to be honest, I never actually like listened to it, and everyone was like cheering like crazy too. And then I think other people, like there was like this other kid that was like a little kid that asked like one of like the smartest like, questions like ever in that time, and everyone just gave like a rounding applause like for that too also. So there were like some interesting moments like in that event too.
Yeah, man, it was amazing. Yeah, it was an amazing event. It was just interesting to see that, Toronto's not too far away from New York, and that connection could happen. It's just interesting how something like music or art, it could be that universal language to connect people.
Like just getting back into like your whole sound as Moreno Zulu. So I know that you said that Joey Badass inspired you to take part in music seriously, but like what other artists or genres were you like mainly influenced by like growing up, and in the future who would you like to work with someday?
Oh, that's a good question. I was always open to pop music, as well, like music that's on the radio. It was just so interesting to me how songs can be replayed over and over all day. Like that idea of it, was just always so intriguing to me. Pop music, R&B, the blues, old school rock and roll songs. But yeah, there's definitely a few genres, but I definitely got to give it up to R&B and pop music, and really just going back, listening to music from different eras, listening to music from the 70s, listening to music from the 60s, the 80s, the 90s, the 40s, the 50s, just really seeing the evolution of how music evolved, era after era, across all these genres. That definitely inspires my music today.
No, man. And for first-time listeners who are trying to get into your sound for the first time, like how would you describe your music to them, and like what can they like expect from you? Do you have like any songs that you could like recommend them by any chance?
Oh, definitely. Right now you can stream "Wipe It Off." It's a number 4 song off my new EP called VYBZ, and the project is all upbeat music. It's all between 120 to 160 BPM for all the music lovers out there, music creators, you know what I mean? But I specifically made it for that because of the type of message that I want to bring to the world. I feel like that style of hip-hop music was a good segue, and it was a good lane for me to express my passion and my capabilities in music.
And I just want to like dig deep into your creative process. So what is your creative process just like for making music, and what would a day in like making or recording music be like for you by any chance?
For me, it's either or. Like if I could spend 8 hours in the studio, if you give me all the beats, I can go in the studio for 8 hours. I could make 5 songs in a day. I can make 6 songs in a day. You know what I mean? If I have the time, I'll be in there all day writing song after song. But at the same time, I could also really just step back and focus on one song and not even be in the studio. I could be working on a verse for like 3 days, or I could be working on one song for like a week. You know, it all depends on the beat and the production and, you know, how it makes me feel and how close I feel to the music.
Definitely. And you know, just speaking about like the latest project, like the Vibes EP, what was like, and like even like the last project, 24/7. I know, like you said that with one of them, you had like 120 to 150 like BPM, but were there any other like creative processes that you had for the project, and what inspired you to make either one of them? You know.
Oh, so 24/7, I released that in 2019. It was 12-song mixtape, and that was my fourth musical project that I released. And it was more of just understanding my sound and understanding my style, and I wanted to just give a range of different types of songs. You know, I wanted to have slow songs, mid-tempo, you know, high songs, you know, so that was an interesting moment. And then when it came to Vibes, you know, that just released December 20th, 2021, I was very specific. You know, I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew what it wanted to sound like. I knew what kind of energy that I wanted. And it was just another segue to what I'm going to release next.
And you know, I noticed like all over like in Toronto, like you had posters for the project. Like I think like at the time you had one where it was, you know, it's coming soon, and then like I think when the album like was like the EP was like released. So you did that like rather than like using like social media as much to promote it. So what made you decide on wanting to use like the whole like street team route to promote it rather than like social media?
Yeah, because, you know, I realized that, you know, there's people in Toronto who are like-minded, just like myself. No matter how much you could feel like, yo, this is my life, this is my situation, no one can relate to this. It's only me who's going through this, and it's only me who likes this, and it's only me who shops at this store. That was just like a eye-opening experience for me, you know, realizing like, yeah, there is also people in Toronto who are just like me and like what I like. So let me post these posters so those people can see it.
Oh man. And I just wanted to figure out like your name for a bit too. So how did you manage to get like your name Moreno Zulu as a part of your stage name?
Stage name, so yeah, it started when I was like 14, when I was first writing some of my first songs. Moreno is my middle name, so I used that as the first part of my name. And then after Zulu, it was just like a reminder for me, you know, when I think of Shaka Zulu, it's just a reminder for me of, you know, keeping your head on your shoulders and, you know, believing in yourself. So I just blended both of them. I put it together. I said Moreno Zulu, and that's how the name came.
And just, you know, like we have like some final questions before we head off. So how do you feel about the Toronto like, music scene like right now? Do you feel like there should be some changes on how the scene should be, or do you think it's like fine like the way it is?
Yeah, Toronto's music scene. Yeah, it's definitely, you could find your live music, you could find your studios, you could find performances. I definitely do feel like everything is accessible if you really look and you're determined to find whatever you're looking for. You can find it in Toronto.
And what are your like plans for this year in terms of like other music or projects and such? And do you have like any like final words you'd like to say for any creative or any person pursuing their dreams?
Okay. This year I'm going to be releasing more videos, more music. You know, we're just gonna see how everything goes one step at a time. You know, no rush. You know, patience and all that. And my message to everyone out there: if you're passionate about what you do and you have a dream or you have a goal, always believe in what you have to offer to the world. Never undermine your contribution, because we all need each other.
Moreno Zulu, thank you, you know, for coming by to speak your piece, to speaking like your unique stories and everything else too. And I wish you like nothing but the best too. But also, where can people like find you like on social media, like if they have like no access?
Oh yeah, you can definitely follow me on Instagram, Moreno_Zulu, Moreno_ZULU. You can find my YouTube channel, Moreno Z, Moreno space ZEE. You can find my music videos, content, everything you need to know. And yeah.
Wish you nothing but the best, and you know, everyone go check out like that VYBZ EP on all like platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, and until next time, man.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Peace.